coming in.
Snap. Yeah, we can do it together. That's fine. I like it like
Yeah.
that.
But what we need to do? We need to let him know what podcast this is, Bobo.
Oh, if you guys are wondering, you're joining us on a Quantumania pregame of Who's the Master? Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania.
Show enough.
Yeah, that
It's
was a little
good, Bobo.
overkill, but hey,
we were talking before the podcast. We're both a little excited today.
Yeah, it's like going to and I don't want to compare it to Christmas morning, but it's like a little bit like you're about to go to a theme park and have some fun, and I'm about to get lost in the MCU in hopes that we're going to get a satisfying movie with none other than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Hey, look at this fun overlay game I'm having.
Yo, man, that's some good work there, Bobo. Man, I'm so excited. As soon as the opening music hit for the podcast, I got super pumped. In fact, I was thinking, if we ever redo that opening, since it's such a good action movie theme song, if we were to film it, some people gotta die. We gotta find some bad guys to kill. Rip out some throats,
like
slice some people up.
Remember in Boogie Nights when Mark Wahlberg and John C. Reilly were filming their scenes with Brock Lesnar and something else, or Brock something. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We should do that. Go out on the town like they did with the Sabotage video with the Beastie Boys.
I'm saying we should kill people for real, Bob.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dude, you know what? I haven't marked that off my list yet, so let's do it.
Yeah. I got to rip out one throat before I die.
Like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse.
Oh my God, what a classic movie! I heard they were redoing that movie, but we'll talk about it some other day.
With Gyllenhaal. Yeah, but okay.
Listen,
they're doing it with Gyllenhaal.
I do like you, Jake.
I do like Jake as well.
But then again, was Patrick Swayze a action star before Roadhouse?
No.
Was he even an action star after Roadhouse?
No. It just worked for that movie.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's not what we're here to talk about, is it, Bobo?
No, we are here to talk about none only other than Quantumania. Yeah, I got to keep that mic on hand.
All right, so listen, man.
We already got a comment. What are your expectations? Oh, Derp is here. So how painful was it? Okay, so look, this is just pre-gaming, Derp. This is just pre-gaming.
Yeah,
you haven't seen it. You're going to see it in what, 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yep, I'm going to go see it 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now I know where you come
from.
I'm
going at 6
because the reviews have not been positive. In fact, it's rotten, and it's the only other Marvel film outside of Eternals to have a rotten rating.
Love and Thunder wasn't rotten?
No, but that just goes to show you, right? I think there's a real dissonance now. Listen, guys, I'm a guy with a lot of loves. I love sports. I love movies. I love food. Can't do food because I'd be fat as hell. Can't do sports podcasting because let's be honest. There's a lot of noise out there when it comes to sports podcasting. Chose movies because not only do I love movies, but I think there's a real dissonance between critics and audiences, and it's growing even further, especially now that politics come to play on both sides. You know, critics have their politics they play, audiences review bomb for political reasons. And so I was like, man, what I really want to do is give people a movie channel that'll give movie reviews just with an honest opinion. Now, we're not always going to like the same things, right?
No, that's one of the reasons I think that with this show has worked. I've even gotten more of my friends tell me like, hey, the show's working better now that you have a little bit of an opposable side on there rather than just someone that agrees with you.
Yeah, we don't have to agree on anything. Bobo hates Japanese people. I don't. I love
that. Is not true. You can't say that at all. You can make the jokes about the animation, but I do not hate Japanese people.
No, he loves Japanese people. He just hates your animation.
Not anyways.
But yeah, see, I mean, just to go to show you don't have to agree on everything. You know what, Derpy? I have not checked the Discord. Let me go check that. I apologize, Derpy. So I have a Discord for work purposes and for this podcast, and my phone does not let me switch. But I'll go check on that as soon as we get done here, Derpy. I promise. Yeah, man. I'm. What are some of your expectations going in? Let's start there.
For me, well, I really liked Ant-Man 2 or Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, it's not quite as good as the first one, but I didn't think there was anything bad about it. The first one there could have been some of this that like I had no clue that they were going to be able to do that good of a job with the first one. You know, Ant-Man, it's like, how can we make this cool? But they did. And I really, really enjoyed it. The second one, I still had a ton of fun with, but maybe that surprise element, I knew what to expect maybe, and maybe that's why it didn't hit me as hard. But this one just seems completely different in tone. Like it doesn't, the only thing that's going to be similar is the characters. Like, I'm not even sure that they're gonna be able to even allow for the same type of humor coming from, Scott Lang because of them being in this quantum realm again, and it's just like, "Oh, crap," and it does have sort of a higher stakes vibe to it. So I'm expecting things to be heavy in this one.
Yeah, I think it would be best if it had a Jojo Rabbit type vibe where
Mhm.
things are funny and lighthearted until it gets real, right?
Exactly.
Spoiler warning for those of you that haven't watched JoJo. I haven't really given anything away, but that's kind of how the tone of the movie goes. It's at a certain point, there's one particular scene where all of a sudden everything just gets real in Jojo Rabbit.
I mean, gravity just comes into play like a
Yeah.
mofo.
Why he couldn't do that for Love and Thunder? No idea.
He
But
did it in Ragnarok,
yeah, he did.
you
He
know?
did. Yeah. So
I'm wanting that from this movie, and the fact that they're showing a huge sort of family element to it,
mhm.
you know? I mean, they're definitely pushing that. I mean, look, you know? So I am expecting that. I'm a little worried that it's gonna get a little too off the rails though,
Mhm. Listen, I
but
think
that's Marvel though.
I didn't love the second one. I didn't hate it. Right? It's very much mid for me as Marvel in the Marvel tier. And there are parts of it I love, but I just Hope didn't work with me in the last movie. I liked her better as that support role in the first movie, being the competent one that's kind of forced in the sideline in the support role, knowing that she could do it better. There's a lot of humor there. But Scott was shown as being somewhat competent in the first one. And the second one, I thought he was more of the dunce to Hope's straight man. And it took away a little bit of the appeal for the character that's the marquee of this movie for me.
Yeah, he was a heist guy in the first one, and they even opened it up, showing him doing stuff you believe is like, "Oh, wow, dude,
Uh,
this guy's got kind of a natural talent for this heist thing," you
yeah.
know? And then they don't really showcase that in the second one. You're right. I'm definitely not gonna disagree on that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And nothing against, Hope the character, but yeah, I just don't think she's as interesting as Scott. I guess that is a kind of a I said nothing against her. She's boring, but
well, but look, and it's alright to not like a character. So many people, and so we kind of have to tiptoe to make sure it's like, look, we're not saying we don't like women characters.
mhm.
It's just sometimes the character doesn't work a certain way for us. I do
Bobby,
I
I don't know if you've ever been on this thing called the internet. They don't care how you phrase things. They just want to pigeonhole you. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
100%,
But you're
100%.
right. We can't be afraid of our opinions. Yeah, Hope was a boring character. She
Yeah,
was.
it's okay to just say if
Yeah.
you don't like the character, and I think that she was better in the first one, I do. Now look, this is just me getting a little kind of trying to be comical, and I gotta preface it, I'm not being that guy, but it's like, is this hairstyle gonna hold up really for that long? Like, was this the right choice to go with? I don't know, man. Like, I think that it was just better with the longer hair. I'm not feeling this short hair so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like Courtney Cox in Scream 3, you know?
I'm not much of a short haired guy. It works for some women, doesn't work for all of them. But you know what? Hey, like if you want, let's say you want your director, you're like, listen, how practical is having long hair if you're a superhero running around fighting bad guys? Maybe they took it from that approach. And so
Yeah, I mean,
and
it
maybe
could.
she was just like, screw it, I want short hair. Listen, I used to have long hair at one point in time, and I have like 35 cowlicks, so it wasn't a good look, and it really sucked to maintain.
Well,
Long
look,
hair is a
this
pain in the
is
ass.
and let me make this clear too. Like, I saw her on some talk shows here recently, and she's got it short and it's blonde and stuff like that, and she definitely looks great. It's not that. I'm just saying the way some things just don't some things look kinda goofy when they're in these suits and they're in there like, you're already having to put these suits on and make them look believable. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so, like, when I see this picture right there, I'm just kinda like, like,
Yeah. I
I
do
don't
like
know.
how they didn't coif her hair or make it look, styled. They gave her very much the "I just took off my helmet" look.
Yeah, well, and maybe that's what it is, and if that's what it is, then fine. Maybe I just couldn't help it when I saw that shot. I was like, "Man, ugh." But regardless, um, what are your thoughts on their switch up of the daughter?
Cassie? I don't mind that. I mean, I don't remember who the actress was that played her daughter the first time.
I don't remember who she really was. However, I would know and notice. I don't think that was the girl that was in Endgame if I was watching this. You know what I mean? And if I was a
I
casual.
mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but if you're a casting director, like, who knows? Maybe that girl is now a talented actress. But I mean, she was such a small role in Endgame. She was in there for a few scenes. Now, as a casting director, she's going to carry a lot more of the movie. You're probably going to go for either the better name, bigger name, or the more known commodity or the stronger actress or all the above, right? And so,
well, and she is a good actor. Have you seen Freaky with her and Vince Vaughn?
no,
She was good in that. She actually did a really good job. I was surprised, and that movie was pretty fun.
It does seem like she's going to be very integral to the story. I wouldn't be surprised if she's kind of the heart of the story.
I think she is. And also, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so who's your claim on the deaths in this?
I don't think Scott's going to die because we've already been there, done that. Kind of, right? He wasn't quote unquote dead, but like you made him disappear for Andrew's got some hot sports opinions. We'll get to here in a little bit. You made him disappear for several years already. So, you've already done the we mourn Scott, we think he's dead trope, right? You can't, unless you're going to kill him off permanently, you can't kill him off again. Now, if he's like not going to do another movie, then yeah, obviously you can kill him off. I would say, not Scott, but Hank and his wife Janet are going to.
They go.
I do not see them coming back for another movie.
What about Evangeline Lilly Hope? Do you think that they'll kill her?
No.
Only reason I'm asking is that because that would allow for Cassie to become the new Wasp.
It would. She could also become the new Ant-Man. I mean, in the comics she becomes Staturette, right? And I don't know if they end up changing her name later. I just remember the Avengers, Young Avengers. She was
so maybe she
does her own thing, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah, maybe she adopts.
She could be giant. They.
Yeah,
a giant her, woman. Giant she, giant woman, whatever you want to call it. What's Andrew saying here? They can't show a man being stronger than a woman. Look at She-Hulk compared to Hulk, the last Thor. It's something that I noticed because of the culture.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't mind that characters be strong and everything. I just don't need them to do it. I don't need
Andrew, are you saying men can't be stronger than women, or are you saying that it's just not something that the audience is going to want to see? Which I'm pretty sure it's the latter.
I think what he's saying is that the studios are afraid to depict a man being stronger than a woman because of the culture we're in right now. I think that's what he's saying. When he says,
I think if Disney seems like a really woke company, so I mean, I think that's something that they would do. But I mean, stronger. With Ant-Man, it's not about strength, right?
She's smarter.
Yeah,
but that's true in a lot of cases. Most girls are smarter than us,
and that can work.
We don't want to admit it, but they are.
Yeah, Paul Rudd is also supposed to. He's best as an actor when he's being kind of a dunce, and so it can work. You just can't overdo it.
That's he did perfectly in Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I'm being serious. Like, he was smart, but he was also kind of like he wanted to be jolly and goofy, but he was actually intelligent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the original Thor Ragnarok, they balanced perfectly because Chris Hemsworth is also great as his airhead muscle guy.
Only a little, not fully.
Yeah, and they went full. It's like this. It's like we can't say the R word, but like that scene in.
He went full R.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that, man. You still got to be confident as a hero.
What are they? I know they're talking about Sean Penn and I Am Sam, but what movie was that?
Oh, it's Ben. Oh yeah, no, there's. I think they're talking about Sean Penn, or are they talking about Leo when Leo DiCaprio did his role?
No, because for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and they do say there's only a couple people that pulled it off.
Yeah,
and I think they refer to Leo as being one that pulled it off. But they're like, anyways, we're getting off on a tangent. But you can't go full R, and that's what they did with Thor, especially with Thor, because I mean we're talking about a guy that's like in Endgame, he's all wrapped up and he's like, "You'll die for that," like, and you're like, "Yeah, go kick his ass, Thor." And then now cut to only a movie or two later, or only a movie later. It's just like, oh God, who invited this dude to the party?
Yeah. I mean, even in Endgame, I think you meant Infinity War, but in Endgame,
Infinity War is what I meant.
In Endgame, he's fat Thor and he's funny, but he's also like, when it comes time to throw down, he's ready to throw down. And it's not just humor that's just blank humor, like I'm an idiot. It's like I'm depressed. There's some real emotional layers to that humor, right?
And there's a reason, and it shows him like almost breaking down a couple of times, and he's like, "Oh, trying to get it together." You know what I mean? So there's a reason for that to be that way. But then just to like, but now because of what's happened in his life, it's like when you see Rocky in Rocky 1 through 4, a badass, cunning athlete who is just ready to just get better and better and better. Then cut to part 5, and they make him this brain damaged dude where he's like,
Yeah.
and then they go to Rocky Balboa
He's
and just
fine.
kind of X out part 5. They just sort
Yeah.
of forget about part 5 and they erase that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that with this film. I don't think that they're going to make him just completely a Dumbo. I think that this one is actually going to. I'm really thinking there's going to be less of the humor. I mean, it's still going to be Scott Lang. He's still going to be.
I mean, yeah, you gotta let Scott, you gotta let Paul Rudd be Paul Rudd a little bit, right? That's
He's going to be nervous when it's
Yeah.
actually serious times, and he's going to say something funny when everybody's going to be like,
he's gonna mess with Conan, you know.
Yeah. So, as far as them being in the realm, and we haven't even gotten to the main part of this movie that most people are excited about because we're going to get to it, but this whole, how quick do you think they're going to get in here, and how convoluted or non-convoluted do you think this is going to be?
So the first act's going to be the humor, the setup, showing Scott Lang dealing with celebrity. You know, they've already kind of dropped these Easter eggs in some other shows, but Scott's now got a podcast in the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a book that he released. He's going to red carpet premieres we see in the preview. Although who knows if that's a dream sequence or not. But he definitely has some fame. He's kind of a celebrity. And I think that's going to
calls him Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the build up to, you know, getting to know Cassie and her character and how brilliant she is. That's going to be the first part of the movie, right? And then,
or like a full-on first act, or they are, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's going to be the first act.
Okay.
And the second act will be Quantum Realm. Third act will be the finale, the big CGI battle.
So, like, as far as like, this is when they arrive, it looks like, right?
Uh-huh.
But as far as like all of this is third act.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably.
Okay.
They'll probably have a battle in the second act as well. Where
right. I mean, we're going to have action. They'll be fighting other things,
but the huge CGI, you know, piece where all the heroes come together and battle the villain. That's going to be the last part. And honestly, you know, a lot of times that's where Marvel has trouble keeping the momentum going of a movie, right? When Marvel movies have failed, it's been the third act that's underwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's going to be the make or break part.
Yeah, and because that's when you need something to hit, and that's when you need to really feel the glue coming together. And it's like, oh, all right, they've built something, they set us up, and now we're into it. Whereas sometimes they haven't kind of paid off with that. They've just sort of like the third act is sort of on par with the second act. And it needs to be better than the last act. Every act needs to be better, you know?
I think the best they've done it. I'm not going to count Infinity War because Infinity War really is. I mean, they can end it on a downer because they know that they're going to do part 2, right?
That's part of an epic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's a.
I think the best they ever did was Civil War. Civil War had the epic third act with the big emotional tension of, you know, we find out this is all part of Zemo's plan. It's all about revenge. We get to actually know what the motivation of the characters and really feel his pain. And then, of course, we get to see Black Panther make that decision to let it go. All while that big fight scene is going on. That's the best they've ever done it.
Yeah. And we introed Spider-Man 2 along with Black Panther.
Right. So, but I'm just talking about the third act.
No, yeah. But now that I'm thinking about it, Civil War might be my favorite MCU film.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's face it, it's an Avengers movie, not a Captain America movie.
It is. Yeah.
But anyways, moving back to this, we talked, you know, Cassie's going to be a part of it. You know, now that we have the whole family, we said, do you think there's a chance that Hank and Janet might die? Mm-hmm. But this guy on the right is.
I mean, let's be real. Michael Douglas is how old now?
I mean, he's got to be the same age as Harrison, right?
Yeah, we'll look this
up.
I'd
say 80. Let's just say roundabout.
We'll look this up, but you know, at some point, Michael Douglas is gonna be too old for this S. And although Kirk acted till he was like what, 150? He's 78 years old.
There you go, 2 years away from 80. But yeah, I mean, he's still doing it. What's so funny is that he's like outworking his kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, his dad lived till he was like 300 years old and was acting for a long time. So,
the Douglas family.
You ever see any of Michael Douglas's early stuff?
Like Black Rain?
Like his first couple movies. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably not.
They were so bad. He was so bad. He was such a bad actor when he was younger.
But he got in because of nepotism, is what you're saying?
Well, he did, but he also he worked his ass off and became decent.
Yeah, he
You
did
know?
work his ass off, and now he is a
Yeah.
solid actor.
Yeah.
But the big thing that everybody's talking about with this movie, though, is this guy right here, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
The year of the majors. We are in the majors era right now,
Mhm.
and it's just beginning. I'm excited about this movie a lot because of him. I'm not gonna lie. There's something about him on screen. He's sort of when he just starts talking, the way he just chews it up, man, and he doesn't really have to try to do it. You know, some people just have that X factor, and I think he's one of those guys that does.
So he is a little bit bulletproof because critics were not going to slam his performance, regardless. With that being said, he's such a good actor. I highly doubt his performance. I fully believe his performance is what they're saying it was.
Mhm.
But I had a feeling that there's no matter how good or bad he was, they were going to praise his performance, no matter how much they loved or hated the movie.
So that's basically the one good things that critics are saying about this is
Yeah,
that he's actually
Mhm. And once again, they weren't going to criticize him because he is pretty much that next it guy. And so that's what I'll be interested in seeing after this movie, airs. Is he's only got one vehicle that's been released this year where he was the lead. The other ones he's been the sport or the villain, right? And Creed coming up, he's going to be villain, and this one he's going to be a villain. There was
and
one,
then Devotion was the last one that just came out,
yeah,
but that was last year.
yeah. Technically, that was last year. You're right. I still haven't seen that, by the way. I want to see it, but it's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I don't have Paramount.
Yeah, listen. We can't be buying all these streaming services. You monetize this channel, people. We'll buy all the streaming
Yes,
services.
subscribe, please.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, real quick.
Like button, comment below. Join us for these live sessions. Yeah, man. And we're gonna get a Patreon episode up soon, right, Worley?
Yeah, Worley, you're listening. You got to come over and do that Patreon episode with us.
Yeah.
We should have done it last night.
Hey.
He came over late last night and started doing some script work, but so back to Jonathan Majors though, with his performance that are going on right now. I mean, this alone right here, man. I mean, that is literally that's Kang.
It looks cool too because part of me wondered, like, listen, that when they first created that outfit, it was a different time. It was a different style,
Yeah,
I was like, is that outfit gonna pop? In this movie, if they do it comic accurate, and it pops.
Yeah, they're able to make it work, and a lot of that has to do with the set surrounding as well. If you put somebody in that outfit like that and they're hanging out in somebody's apartment living room, it's not going to look right.
Yo, we're gonna be seeing a lot of Kangs this Halloween. Just FYI.
Oh, for sure, and I bet you we'll see a lot of. And again, what is Cassie's? You got the Wasp and Ant-Man. What's Cassie's? I mean, what's her name?
The comics is Staturette for a while. I think she does become the new Ant-Man or Ant-Woman for a little bit, but I don't know. I hadn't followed her too much since Young Avengers.
So, but I mean, okay. So, do you think that she's going to get her suit because she made it for herself, or are they going to have it for her because I mean,
they traveled to the quantum realm? That's
like right there, she doesn't have it on. So does Janet I have a hidden spot where we can get it for you? And I don't know. And also, did you ever notice this? I got to bring this up. You ever notice when she's making that little thing in the preview and she's like clicking it down and she's like, what if we tapped into this, and they're basically showing, oh no. Doesn't it just look like another arc reactor? Like, what is it with Marvel having to shape everything like in the arc reactor in this? Like when they were making the thing in the first Avengers that the Tesseract was flowing through, that looked like a big arc reactor.
Maybe maybe it is a callback to maybe they just want to keep that Tony Stark legacy.
Arc tech fully in.
All right, here's a notable aliases for Cassie Lang. Stature, I said Staturette, my bad. Stinger, Ant Girl, Giant Girl. So, yeah, I could see her becoming Giant Girl down the road. Unless Paul Rudd hangs him up.
Hey, but, I mean, Stinger sounds cool. I think Stinger would be cool.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Ant-Man, come on. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Really sound good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, listen, at some point, so Marvel did the Marvel, I believe it was Next, where they tried to introduce some legacy heroes. Like, hey, let's retire some of these heroes that have been writing for 70 years that we no more stories to tell. And the fans didn't dig it, right? They wanted their old classics, which I honestly dug a lot of those new characters. Riri was a part of that initiative. I dig Riri, right?
Ironheart.
Andrew Cho. great character from the Hulk that was actually introduced before that whole initiative. Phenomenal character. I like seeing him carry the mantle of the Hulk. Hulk is my favorite comic book character of all time, FYI. But there's only so many stories about Bruce Banner you can tell, and they've already kind of been told to death. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Although Immortal Hulk came out recently and kind of blew that opinion out of the water, but for the most part, they've been told to death.
yeah. So what the thing with Marvel is or the MCU and what I've seen them do it is that they're definitely not telling it the way it was told in the comics as far as chronologically. They're just sort of going with what they had because when they first started, they didn't have the rights to everything, and so they're just like, well, Iron Man, like because technically it should have started with Namor and things like that. We should have had like an actual old school flaming torch, or Human Torch that wasn't Johnny Storm. You know what I'm saying? But instead, they just skipped all that. They started with Iron Man, Captain America, all that. But now things like Kang, who was implemented way back in the day, they're making a newer, so you know what I'm saying? So they're kind of, but then you got Captain Marvel, the female version of Captain Marvel, who's at the forefront of it. You got Miss Marvel, who's a brand new character, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, so they're kind of going like this with the way they're implementing stuff. So I feel like, Kang really is much more of this kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but because of the quantum realm and Ant-Man is what they had at the time, they didn't have Fantastic Four, and now have to do it later on. They're taking it that route. Do you think that there's going to be any sort of like hint at Fantastic Four in this movie? Because come on, Hank Pym and Reed Richards.
Man, I've always, you know what? I'm great at guessing movies, but whenever it comes to Marvel and who they're going to introduce or who they're going to tease, I'm always wrong. I'm going to say no. Because I'm going to say a lot of times I'm wrong because I think they're going to tease somebody and they don't. A lot of times they hold off from that stuff, which I think is smart. I think you can overdo the Easter eggs. You know what I'm saying? And you can sometimes take a shine away from the movie itself if it's all about who's coming next,
So you don't think there will be any regards to, you don't think anybody will show up and come and help him in the quantum realm?
No, I think if it happens in post-credit. A lot of talk about these post-credit scenes. So maybe in the post-credit, we get a big hint to the Fantastic Four.
So how significant is this going to be with MODOK? MODOK.
So they definitely made some changes to the characters from what I understand. Should we say what I've heard or should we keep it kind of
Well, do you think what you heard is spoiler?
Maybe, yeah.
Because you're saying that MODOK. I've always said MODOK in my head, but maybe it's MODOK.
Yeah, I've always said MODOK, but maybe it's MODOK.
You
let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know what you think it is. How integral to the plot do you think he's going to be?
I mean, he's going to be a psych. I would see MODOK. I think is going to be more comic relief. I mean,
because they just recently did the Hulu cartoon with Patton Oswalt doing the voice.
Yeah.
And they basically made him a loser.
Which makes sense. I mean, listen, terrifying in the 70s, kind of silly now, right?
Looks cool to draw in a comic book, but
to
translate it, I mean, that's a tall order,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you couldn't just make it a large head without people cracking up.
So you don't think
in a bad way?
Fan service? Think that there is something significant about this character being in this movie, MODOK?
I don't think it's significant. I think he's just going to be,
scratch it off the list. We put MODOK in a movie.
Henchman. Yeah, he's going to be a henchman role.
Oh, so maybe he's helping Kang out.
Yeah, I don't think he has a choice, right?
Right.
From the spoilers I hear in the movie, it's a returning character who's been banished to the quantum realm. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now I haven't verified it. This is spoilers I heard early on
about MODOK.
Yeah. So, and that's how he got mutated, and so. Yeah, I think he just kind of he gets banished to the quantum realm, and there's this big bad that he kind of has to follow, or else.
But so, do you feel like that this is just again their opportunity to scratch that off one of the list of things to be fun to put in a Marvel movie, or is he going to show up again?
Well, you can do both, right? You can have fun putting him in and set it up for later if you find a way to use it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be in it. I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to have a significant role. I just don't think he's going to be super integral. I think we're going to look back and say, okay, that's something fun they threw in there, and he got a lot of screen time. But at the end of the day, it's not like you couldn't have this movie without MODOK.
So, Wakanda Forever, we had a surprise moment with Michael B. Jordan. I guess you could say the Russell Crowe moment in Thor: Love and Thunder was kind of that. Was
Although
there
we
any
knew that coming in that he was going to be in that role.
but was there even a real surprise element? I'm trying to think. Was there anyone that you were like, "Oh, wow, you're back," or you know what I
No.
mean? I can't remember. But Spider-Man: No Way Home, obviously, huge surprise element. We knew it was
Yeah.
happening, but it was a big deal.
And we weren't 100% sure. Like there are
Doctor Sh
rumors.
Doctor Strange, we have the whole alternate thing with Professor X
Yeah.
and Fantastic Four. So what I'm saying
Mhm.
is, or what I'm asking is are they gonna have a moment like that in this movie, do you think? Where there's gonna be like a and not post-credit scene, I'm talking about a part of the movie. You know what I
Deadpool,
mean?
maybe? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Deadpool shows up in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of who it could be if it was going to be anyone. Like, do you think Ghost could show up?
Where okay. Oh, maybe. And that would be the most meh surprise of all time. We'd all be like, "Oh, nice ghost, you're here. Great."
Well, could they redeem the character? You know what I'm saying? Not in the plot. I'm saying as for the audiences. Like, could they
Is
redeem
that what's
it in
the actress
audience
doing
eyes?
these days?
She's been in a couple things that I've seen on streaming, a couple like movies and some horror things like that. Like not bad, like more like thriller things, but I haven't seen her in like
Yeah, they
major stuff at
really
all.
thought she was gonna be a big deal, right? She was in the Mummy movie, um, and
Yeah.
then that was right around the same time I think this movie dropped. She was also in one of the Bond movies, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which
She
one it was.
had she had the, ski legs. She had the Michael Pistorius legs.
I'm trying to remember which one
She
it was.
she killed people just like Michael Pistorius did,
Yeah.
not with his legs.
Like what's her name? Xena? No, what was her name in Goldeneye? Famke Jensen, remember?
Oh, yeah. What a great character that was.
Yes. God, I can't remember her name. Somebody put it in the comments. But anyways, um, well, we were talking about the significance of Modak. What do we think any surprise characters are going to be?
Mm.
We do have a solid connection from something else to this movie outside of Ant-Man, which is Loki.
Uh-huh.
So obviously, Jonathan Majors is two different characters right here. He
Mhm.
is Hugh that remains on the right there, and this is Kang on the left. So will there be a Tom Hiddleston appearance?
I don't know. That's a good question because he's never made any. But then again, once again, another guy whose career hasn't really taken off like you thought it was going to take off after.
Yeah. Benedict
So
has at least actually done some stuff, but I haven't seen Tom do a whole lot.
yeah, outside of Loki, and what he did that awful Kong movie. That was terrible.
Oh, I like that one. Kong
I
Skull
knew you would
Island.
like it. God,
Yeah,
that movie
I
was
like
so
that.
bad.
No, that one's great. I think it's fun. Sam Jackson loses his shit and goes crazy.
It have to happen in real world time, not the quantum realm.
Why not the
Uh,
quantum realm, Andrew? I'm curious
yeah.
as to why. Because I mean, I think if
Be-
anywhere it would make sense that somebody knows or I mean, again, we'll have to see the movie.
You can get
But
alternate versions of people in the quantum realm, right? You can have the alternate Loki, one of the alternate Lokis. You can have, alternate whoever in the quantum realm.
I look here, I don't want him to get alternate happy though. I don't want him to get multiverse happy and just use it as a crutch for all
Alternate
these.
happy. That sounds like when you use your lefty instead of your righty.
Well, yeah, it is. It is. No, that's what you call a stranger. When you
Yeah,
sit on one
that's
hand.
true. But I think the better one is the alternate alternate happy.
We're gonna get totally. We got to stop it before we haven't given them a reason yet to.
Well, we're not monetized anyway, right?
Oh
So
yeah, we are.
okay, we are, but we're not getting money.
No, but we're still monetized, which means
Yeah,
commercials there.
that's true. That's true.
Um, but so Andrew, I think maybe sent another comment here. He's saying no, it's just the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I if it happened in the real world, I'm just not sure how it would happen because they don't know they're in any trouble until they're in the quantum realm in this movie. Like it looks like that they're all having a family hangout and Cassie's showing them something in the basement and then something goes wrong. That's what it looks like. Now it could be wrong, but I'm just trying to think why they would need help in the real world. You know what I mean? Now,
Yeah.
I just feel like that they're gonna one of the ways to
Well, you could have somebody show up on Scott's podcast. You could have a cameo that way, like Thor shows up on Scott's podcast. I
yeah,
mean,
but
he's not
that's
thrown up, but
But that's not a aha moment, really. That's just like that's more gimmicky. Like,
yeah.
and Doctor Strange, like, there's a whole fight scene in the alternate reality with these heroes. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about. But,
Yeah.
anyways, it may not happen. I do know that this guy is Jonathan Majors is around to stay. He's taught his contract, I think, was like 5 or 6 movies. Um, and he's around to stay in Hollywood, not just the MCU. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, and MCU doesn't make this mistake that Fox made, because you remember the big mistake that Fox made with the X-Men movies is,
No continuity.
well, not only that, but Jennifer Lawrence got too big and she got to start calling all the shots. She got to be a feature part of the movie and she got to say, I don't want to wear makeup, which, listen, I'm not the one that has in that makeup chair for 14 hours or whatever. So it's easy for me to say, oh, you should have stayed in makeup. But it's
There's
when the movies started changing in tone, it's like, why Mystique? Like, yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is huge, but nobody cared about Mystique like that. We ain't trying to watch a whole movie centered around Mystique.
No, and also too, I have to say, it's like it's kind of an insult to a lot of other people who have made the sacrifice to get the real shots on film to make it look good. Because at the end of the day, you can tell that in Phoenix, in the Phoenix movie, the Dark Phoenix movie with the last one, you can see that it's CG makeup. You can tell like it looks so much better when it was actually applied in real makeup, and that's just I feel like it. There's so many have come before you that do hardcore makeup work for the betterment of the film, and so I just think that's kind of insulting,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
It's
Once again, though, I have trouble sitting still for an hour when we do these podcasts. So you try and tell me to sit still for 14 hours and close my eyes while you do makeup? I don't know. You know? You know?
well, the paycheck I think would make you do it.
Well, yeah. But then when you're from her perspective at that point, she was huge, right? So from her perspective, she was probably like, I'd rather be taking other roles at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah.
I'm not dogging on Jennifer Lawrence because I love her. I think she's great. I think she's a great actor. I think she's beautiful. I think she's got an awesome personality. I think she's funny. All that. So I'm not dogging on her. It's clear that she was using CG makeup instead of real makeup in Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, and that movie had so many other problems.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, nobody cared about Mystique, and that was a major problem with his movies. But the producers were like, I see where they're coming from, because remember, guys, producers make an investment and they want to see a return on that investment. I think a lot of times that's where the discourse of fans goes off track, is because they care so much about the creative property. They think producers just want to create good creative content, stuff that's going to stick in your brain. You're going to say that's a classic movie. Yeah, they'd love to do that. But the main goal, you're putting down a ton of money for a movie, is to
gotta
make a
get
return on
money.
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, you need that good return so more movies can be made in what you're liking. It's a very fine line. It's a sticky, rope to walk on because they're yes, you don't want to upset the fans, but you also have to do things like how many people that were Hunger Games fans went and saw an X-Men movie that had her in it just because they liked Jennifer Lawrence? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
therefore, you have more ticket sales.
when they cast her, she wasn't a huge star, but now you got a huge star that's got a multi-picture deal. Yeah, use more of her. She's box office right now. She might not be in 3 movies, and she wasn't. I mean, I really don't think she's box office now.
She
But
did have a huge like few years though, man, where she was just
yeah,
a ton of movies.
she was on top of the world. I think part of her choice is her choice is in the fact that the industry is not kind to women as they get older. You know,
Yeah, that's
uh,
bastard industry. What do we got? Another comment here. He's saying he just doesn't know how many people can be there. They don't have the PIM particles to go there.
right. But if you have an alternate reality, they could come various ways.
Right. And who knows what the whole it looks like to me, the thing that she's got going on with Cassie, it looks like
Mhm.
is that she has come up with some sort of new thing, kind of similar to what Tony came up with in Endgame when they
Yeah.
realized they could do something that didn't exist before. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, because they didn't use pin particles. Well, yeah, they kind of did use pin particles in that in
In
Endgame,
Endgame?
but
Yeah, because
yeah,
remember he's just like, "I only got 2 shots at this," and it's
yeah,
okay, 1 shot.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny. Great movie, by the way. Infinity War and Endgame are awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm still partial to Infinity War just because that ending. That ending gets you, you know?
yeah, it's got a little bit more of a that's the thing. Endgame gives you the happy resolve, where there's like some real heaviness to Infinity War.
And Endgame does have some weak moments, like the whole girl power, just how that
Right,
was forced. You could have done that in a better way. Like, I'm
right.
not
No,
against the girl
Andrew and I,
power, but
no, we've talked about it. It felt. I'm a
yeah.
man, and it felt patronizing too. I felt bad for the women who felt like that was patronizing towards us. You know what I'm saying? And I say us meaning women. That's the kind of thing. It's like, when you feel sorry for somebody who's performing on a high school talent show and they're really giving it their all, but they just suck. And
Yeah.
everybody's laughing at them and you just feel so bad for them. I felt bad for the women having to watch that scene because it was like, oh, here you go, girls. You know what I mean?
What's more embarrassing though, the person that sucks and people are laughing at them, they feel bad, or the person that sucks and don't realize they suck, and even when people are laughing at them, they just keep their confidence going? Because part of me admires that false bravado, and part of me is like, bro, you know,
Well, I mean, there is the term "fake it till you make it," right?
yeah, that's true. That's true. But
Um, so
sometimes
yeah,
you never make it.
is this movie going to be on par with those movies? No, but no Marvel movie has since those. So I'm not
Yeah,
expecting it.
let's not say it right ahead of time that it's not going to. Chances are not looking good. Because we said, hey, beware the negative reviews, but I'm pretty sure that not all those critics are being overly negative for the sake of being negative. There are probably a few of those critics, maybe even quite a few of those critics that went in with an open mind and just did not like the movie.
Okay, so
Maybe Marvel fans that just didn't like the movie, right?
and
So
let's break it down really like this. What that 58% actually means is out of all the critics that saw it and listed it on Rotten Tomatoes, 58% liked it. So that means that there are a 58% of people that enjoyed this movie.
mhm.
It's just that other percentage
And
that
we don't know how much they didn't like it, how much they liked it, because it doesn't give an average score. That's why a lot of people like Metacritic better, right? Do
yeah,
we know what this film's gotten on Metacritic, by the way? Let's take a look.
Rotten Tomatoes has just sort of dominated what people think of, kinda like when people think that Netflix is the only streaming platform. It's like,
Right.
no, there's more, but it was the first one to really get out there and have a public influence on people going to see movies or not. You
Well, it's 50 on Metacritic.
So it's 50%.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and look, it's not just the Rotten Tomatoes deal. Like I've seen all the major news sites, Deadline, Variety, Reporter,
Mhm.
all of them are like, yeah, Ant-Man is not hitting like they're wanting. So, but is this still I say is it? I know it is. This is still a product of the Chapek regime.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
I was about to say that. I was like, listen, Iger still got it out. Iger can still be like, "Hey, me, fam." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
and
other
that
guy. We kicked him out.
we're not going to see look, so let's talk about this real quick. After this, and this has got to lead into something. It has to because Kang is going to be a major villain.
Mhm.
But after this year, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Also Chapek, right?
Yes. And then right after that, I think literally uh it might be 2 months apart on the calendar as far as months are concerned, but as far as days are concerned, I think it's about a month and a half is the Marvels.
And
That's
listen,
this year.
ooh, the audience reviews on that are gonna be fun, dog.
So you didn't watch Miss Marvel, right?
I didn't. I'll watch it though.
So, well, what I was going to say is post-credit scene of the series, like after everything's said and done, like this doesn't give anything away for you watching the
No,
plot.
I've heard that it teases mutants.
Well, no, no, no.
Spoiler.
That's just at the very last line of the very last episode. That he just
Okay.
says, "You know what? You're a mutant or something mutant," and you hear a "Ba-na-ma-na-ma-na-na." But at the after the credits have gone up, and it's like just a little fun like oh fly on the wall moment.
Uh,
Captain Marvel shows up in her bedroom.
oh yeah, and I saw the screen caps of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that I'm just saying they did that. I was worried that that was going to be a show. The fact that the Marvels is going to be a movie, I'm a little more hopeful. And it's directed by Nia DaCosta, who did the Candyman remake, which was excellent.
Is Brie Larson good as Captain Marvel though? And that's always been my question
I
because
think she's just okay. I think she's
Yeah,
just okay.
I've loved her in a lot of stuff she's done. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, she was great in that movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Brie Larson. I did not like Kong, but I thought she did a good job in Kong. There's a lot of roles out there that she's done very well in. This one, there was a big dissonance between what was on page, what was written, the lines, versus how she acted. And I don't know if they were trying to be intentionally ironic or not. Maybe they were doing that to send a message to people about, they're telling her to show more emotion, but that's just false. It's a false statement. She doesn't need to show more emotion. She's emotionally centered. And women who hear that, don't let men tell that to you. They're gaslighting you. Maybe that was done for that reason. Either way, I don't think it stuck with the audience. And I think for whatever reason, either the director not telling her to perform correctly, her making the wrong choices, or them making a choice in script writing that didn't hit with the audience. Captain Marvel didn't really resonate with audiences. I don't think the character itself resonated with the audience.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It didn't. It felt like it was like if there's 100 ingredients to a Marvel film, it felt like it was missing this one important ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even pinpoint what it was because it was well made. It was visually cool. There's a lot of cool moments. Sam Jackson's cool. There's all these great things, but it was like it didn't move me quite like some of the other Marvel movies were moving me up to that point. You know, like there are moments in a lot of other Marvel movies where it's like, oh,
Dude, there were some moments in Captain Marvel. I remember I went with my former co-host Cleasy, and Cleasy was not looking forward to the movie. But that scene where she kind of figures out her powers and she has those flashbacks to when she was young and she was told she couldn't do something, and when she got in the military, and
and
then
the go-kart and all
you see her
that.
kind of rise up. We both looked at each other and we're like, "Hey, this movie might be pretty damn good." That was a powerful moment. But in that moment in itself was just a small portion of that movie, and it never hit the same highs of that one particular 5-second scene. And it had a lot more lulls, not lows, lulls,
Lol.
where
Right,
we
right,
just
right.
didn't have a reaction, and that's the worst type of reaction, you know?
And look, it's like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness to me in the sense that every time I've rewatched it, I have enjoyed it actually a little more,
Mhm.
but not like every time I rewatch Civil War, I'm like, man, you know,
Yeah. I
lost
think
my.
there was also part of the villains fell flat. I think they could have done the Krees a lot better. The Krees are this big intergalactic threat. It didn't feel like
Yes,
in that movie. You know, it
no.
didn't feel like they could come and just demolish Earth.
Well,
And
no,
she,
it's not the crew, it was the scrolls.
the Scrolls are not the bad though. The Kree are the bad guys. Jude Law's a Kree.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My
Yeah,
fault. My fault. My fault. Yes, the
it's
scrolls are. You're right. And
yeah.
that's another thing. I just my head was in a different place.
Mhm.
The scrolls we only saw a portion of like let's say like we've seen the jungle people in Avatar, and then now we saw the water people. Like those were just a group that were like refugees almost. There's still a whole population of the scrolls that are out there that
Mhm.
are probably bad, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've still yet to see that whole thing because there's the Secret Invasion coming out with Sam Jackson, the show, which that's a scroll thing. That
Mhm.
story is a scroll story,
Yep.
right?
I think, yeah. I mean, it is originally in the comic books.
Yeah. So hopefully that we still have those bad scrolls to come. Anyways,
Are we supposed to get a Spider Woman series? The reason I asked is Spider Woman's a big part of the Secret Invasion of the comics.
well, they're doing a you know what? Now I feel like we were supposed to get that, but I don't think they can do that because it's Sony. And Sony's doing
Do they have Spider Woman? Is that the same rights as Spider Man? Because she's
ev-
not really part of that universe. She's not a Spider Man character, right? She was
she
introduced as her own character.
you sure though?
Yeah,
So Spider-Woman has nothing to do with anything,
her
even
powers, none of that. None of that has anything to do with Spider Man. And for her powers, they've gone back and forth with their origin, and they're all weird origins. It usually has to do with Hydra and experiments or high evolutionary
yeah.
experiments or something around that matter. But and she spends time as a shield agent, and yeah, she doesn't really have a lot to do with Spider Man.
Yeah, no, and I knew that she wasn't like it wasn't the same thing, but I felt like it was still kind of attached because of the name somehow. I don't know. Like
I mean, they can always introduce her as Jessica Drew. And little fun fact, a lot of people know, but not everybody knows. Jessica Jones, the story that made Jessica Jones popular, written by Brian Michael Bendis, it was originally supposed to be about Jessica Drew. But the whole, the comic, in the comic, Jessica Jones never actually gets repaid, She they do in the series, she pretty much gets raped. But in the comics, it never really they state that she actually does not get raped, actually. But it was so dark that the Marvel heads were like, all right, we're not gonna let you do this to a canon character. If you want to do the story, you gotta create your own. So that's why he created the Jessica Jones character.
gotcha.
But it was originally supposed to be Jessica Drew that was down in her dumps after the whole
And
world.
it would have been cooler because they had to create the facade of this old character of Jessica Jones that no one knew about.
Mhm.
You know, this
Yeah.
old hero that was retired. It would have worked better with the Jessica Drew. That is true, but um so the Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy, Quantumania. Do you think they'll have any sort of relations leading up to? Because again, all
Having
cosmic
relations.
stuff leading up to Kang Dynasty. Like, do you think Kang somehow or another will float over into the
I
Marvels?
don't. So I wasn't thinking that. Now that you said it, it would make sense. Now that you kind of phrase it in the way you phrase it with all the other cameos that have happened, I would not be surprised if it happens now. Prior to that, I would have said no. So I'm gonna stick with no, but honestly, you're probably right. I'm just gonna stick with no because you just convinced me, and I really haven't had time to really marinate on it. But
Sure, yeah, I
the
mean,
more I think about it, the more you're probably right.
this is a pregame, man. This is all about theories, what we think is gonna happen. We don't know until we watch this thing. This right here, obviously, they're gonna
Mhm.
have an intellectual battle of wits before they actually start fighting, it looks like. They're gonna have all kinds of big talks.
Yeah,
Uh,
it seems like he's gonna be like, listen, fam, here's what's up. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. You think about it, but we know what's gonna happen if you don't do it my way. I think it's gonna be one of those types. The villain introduces themselves and says, "Hey, listen, hero, I'm giving you a choice to submit, and you can think about it for a couple minutes, but you better submit," and then leaves. One of those types of threats.
right, yeah. Like giving him a chance to think about it because it'd be easier for Kang if he just said, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
You know? Now there is that moment where it's like, "I don't have to beat you. I just don't we just have to both lose," right?
Mhm.
Um, that's kinda like the "I can do this all day" type thing. That's just gonna be a big moment right before he gets the upper hand, I'm thinking, 'cause I feel like Scott Lang has to be too big of a part of him moving, like, at least he has to go on towards until the end of Secret War or the first part of Secret War, but I feel like Scott Lang still has to be a part of it because he
Hey,
came in
listen, if
late.
you have Ant-Man beat Kang, good luck establishing Kang as a threat.
No,
Because
I don't
Ant-Man
not
is
saying he'll
not
beat him.
he's not a super OP character. He's not somebody that fans take seriously like that. They love the character, but they love the fun aspects of the character. So if Ant-Man beats your big bad at the end of this movie, good luck convincing people that the Avengers can't beat him. Ant-Man just beat this dude. Avengers can't beat this dude? Give me a break, you know?
What if they do something like the way that like with Thanos, Thor comes in there with um Stormbreaker and he just slams it right in his chest and it's just stuck in there and then Thanos just snaps the thing and then what I'm saying is that what if Kang has like one little like Scott thinks he's beat him and he's like, "Oh, but I have one little thing that's upper hand and this whole cuz he can control time."
Yeah.
So or maybe he's just like, "I'm not the real Kang." Boom, and then you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're
Well,
dealing
in
with
this
here.
movie, apparently he's killed a bunch of Avengers. So once again, if Scott Lang beats you, no, listen, it can still be done if you write correctly, right? There could be, other circumstances that lead to his defeat. But honestly, I really want to see if his threat is delayed in a realistic way. Like he was pretty much about. He first of all he kills some people. He's about to end Scott Lang, but Scott Lang's able to flee, delay him for a little bit, and now he's got to go over to the Avengers about the threat that is Kang. That's much more of an impact. But if he saves the day at the end of the day,
I don't think it's gonna be that. I
yeah,
think I think it'll have a like a, okay, we can take a breather because again, like I said the other day, maybe won this battle, but the war is far from over type situation. That's cool.
yeah,
I don't think that we're gonna have him beat him, but like I said, because he signed on for too many movies.
there could
So
be another possible ending. Is that they look like they're going to lose, and then another Kang variant shows up,
that's what I'm saying.
and in the fight he kills this Kang, and they're able to escape. Like that would be
That's
a cool ending.
that's what I'm saying. Or like
Like, oh, this guy was about to kill us. The other guy just came, and he's more powerful. He's the same dude, right? And you could have some fun with the dialogue where Paul Rudd could be like, "Yeah, Kang showed up, and then the other Kang showed up, and the Kang killed Kang," and just make it a funny moment at the end. But he's got to be a major threat. If he gets beat, if they just like foil his plan and make him look like an idiot and escape, then yeah, good luck convincing the audience that the Avengers can't whoop this dude.
no, I think it'll be like Darth Vader. Darth Vader is like finally like they're closing in on him in the ship and he gets back on the ship and they fly away. That
Yeah.
type of thing. Um so look, I don't want to drag this on just to drag it on, man. Quantumania. I have high hopes. I'm getting excited, but I can't say that I'm confident that it's going to be good. I just especially with this Rotten
Yeah, with
Tomatoes
all the negative reviews,
critic.
obviously it does temper your enthusiasm, but that's why we're gonna go watch on opening day and we'll post some stuff. We can't do a post show today, can we?
I got to go straight to work after this, and
Mhm.
then in between on my break is when I'm seeing Ant-Man, and then I got to go back to work tonight. So I can probably do a show tomorrow at some point during the day, maybe even around noon, maybe. But I like as far as today, I can't. But tomorrow, I was going to try to get my actual review
We
out.
yeah, we can do a
So
couple quick reactions tomorrow at noon. Just
yeah,
it doesn't have to be a long live stream, just quick reactions.
yeah, that could be very doable.
Right. And then yeah, we can work on reviews too. You'll definitely get one out, and I'll see if I can put something up to go on that review as well. But that's stuff for us to talk about. At the end of the day, guys, we're going to go ahead and watch Ant-Man opening day. I want you guys to watch it as well. I want you guys to comment below how excited are you for Ant-Man. I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we do more live streams, drop more content, etc. Sign up with our socials below, Shogun of Cinema, at Shogun of Cinema for both Twitter and Patreon. Go ahead and join our Discord like Derpy did. Let us know if you need the address. Of course, go to our patreon.com as well and support us there. And we'll be posting content of that as well. And then there's something I want to tell the people. I just can't remember what it is. Baba, do you know?
Yeah. If life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorn.
We
Peace.